Hello everyone, my name is Rosa and today is gonna be another Vinyasa class. It's gonna be a pretty strong class, but it is available for everyone because I'm gonna give some modifications. It is nice if you have one or two blocks with you, and if you don't have blocks you can also use books maybe, but it's nice if you have two if they're kind of on the same level and if they're stable. Alright, today we're gonna start in Tadasana, mountain pose. So you can stand on the front of your mat with your feet hip distance apart. I'm gonna stay here so you can see what I'm doing. It is nice to take off your socks already so you can really feel the ground underneath you. So come to stand in Tadasana. Your feet are hip distance apart. And then you can close your eyes. And now feel where your body is touching the mat, where you are literally grounded. You can feel the soles of the feet into the mat. There's a slight arch in the middle of the feet. Toes are widespread. Maybe there's a little bend in the knees. Make sure your tailbone is going down. Your belly is in. Relax the shoulders. You can bring the palms facing forward with the fingers widespread. Your chin is slightly in while the crown of your head is reaching towards the sky. Face is soft. Try to very lightly engage the pelvic floor muscles. Very lightly. So that the energy will be kept inwards. If you want, you can start your Ujjayi breath. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, try to breathe in through the nose, through the back of the throat, and out from the lungs through the back of the throat, out your nose. And whenever it is necessary to breathe out through the mouth, if you need to let go of something bigger, you can always do that. Maybe you even stick your tongue out when you do that. And bring your hands in front of your heart into a prayer position, Anjali Mudra. And you can set your own intention for the class or maybe for the day. Ground your feet, and then with an inhale you bring the arms up. If you want you can open up your eyes. With an exhale you fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. You plant your hands on your thighs, or maybe they're on the mat. Make sure you lengthen the spine. And then with an exhale, you plant the hands, bring your left foot back, and then your right foot back into a plank pose. Check your posture. Your heels are reaching backwards. Your belly is engaged. Your shoulders are over the wrist. And the fingers are widespread. Then with an exhale, you're coming all the way down. Make sure your elbows are pointing backwards. Coming down, plant the toes, and with an inhale, cobra. Toes under, exhale. Downward facing dog. First downward facing dog of the practice. So maybe you like to pedal the feet out by bending one knee and then the other. Maybe you like to shake your head. Yes and no. Then with your next inhale, you bend the knees, look to the front of the mat. And then you step, or maybe you like to jump towards the front of the mat. You can keep your feet hip distance apart, or maybe you prefer to bring your toes together and your heels slightly apart. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, plant the feet, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, belly in. Exhale, plant the palms, right foot back, and then your left foot back into a plank pose. This time you can come all the way down, or maybe you want to go halfway down into a chaturanga. Roll over your toes, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. So really feel the lengthening in the spine. The crown of the head is reaching forward and down, and the tailbone goes up and back. Your heels are reaching towards the mat, and they don't have to touch. Maybe you even bend the knees, but you have to feel a stretch in the back of the legs. With your next inhale, you bring your right leg up to the sky. And with an exhale, plant your right foot next to your right thumb. Maybe you need more steps. Your left foot is in a 45-degree angle on the mat. So your toes are pointing diagonally on the mat. Inhale, bring the arms up, warrior one. Your right knee is over the ankle. So really on top of the ankle. Not in front, not to the back. Make sure your hips and your upper body are facing the front of the mat. Relax the shoulders. Maybe smile. Then bring your hands to your hips. You straighten the front leg, and maybe you need to bring your feet more together. So make sure your hips and your upper body are facing the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen to the spine. And then with an exhale, you come forward. Maybe you need the blocks for this. I do. With every inhale, you lengthen through the spine. And with every exhale, you fold forward. Really forward, not down, you're going forward. And try to keep the hips in a horizontal line. I know it's hard to see if they are, but maybe you can bring your hands onto your hips. Maybe somebody else can check you out. Ooh, I'm really tight today. But the most important thing is to breathe into the pose. With your next inhale, come halfway up. Bring your left arm out in front of you. Your right arm hand is on your hip. Inhale, lengthen. Then with an exhale, you twist to the right, bringing your left hand onto the mat or maybe onto that block. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. If you want, you can bring your right arm up to the sky. Maybe look up, whatever feels good for your neck. Breathe deeply. And then with your next exhale, you plant your hands onto the blocks or onto the mat again. Inhale, coming up, bring your hands on your hips. Then bring your left foot parallel to the short edge of the mat. And you bend your right knee. Maybe you are stepping your feet wider apart to really feel nice, open stretch into the hips. Look over your right fingertips. Warrior two. And bring your left hand to your hip. You can straighten or keep the right knee bent. Then bring your, everybody needs to bring their right knee bent. And then bring your right hand onto the block or maybe onto the mat, on the right corner of your mat. You can bring your left foot off of the mat. Flex the left foot, the toes are pointing forward. A warrior for a half moon. Then if you feel stable, you can bring your left arm up, spread the fingers wide for more stability. And if you still feel stable, you can maybe look up. Breathe. Then as you want to come out, bend the right knee. Try to very lightly step the left foot backward into a warrior two. Then wiggle the arms forward, plant the hands and bring your left foot to your right foot. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale. Hands in front of your heart. Now bring your right knee towards your chest. You bring the weight onto the left foot. Maybe you look at one point which is not moving. Then bring your right knee towards your chest. Find your balance. Bring your hands in front of your heart into a prayer position. And then very gently you're kicking the right foot back. Flex the right foot. You're coming forward with your upper body into a warrior three. Maybe you bring the arms alongside the body. Maybe you can point the foot. So you're only flexing your toes actually. Then you are engaged the whole leg. You're engaging both legs. And to come out, very lightly step the right foot back. Inhale, Anjaneyasana. So your right heel's reaching backwards. Feel that stretch in that right leg. And plant the hands onto the mat. Come back to a plank pose. You can do Vinyasa or come straight to downward facing dog. So with a Vinyasa all the way or halfway down. Inhale, Cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale. Downward facing dog. Are you still breathing steady, that Ujjayi breath? Maybe you can breathe in, and then with your next breath you breathe out through the mouth. Maybe stick out your tongue. Do it once more. Inhale through the nose. And out through the mouth. Stick out the tongue. So with your next inhale, bring your left leg up. Exhale, plant your left foot next to your left thumb. Your right foot goes flat onto the mat in a 45-degree angle. Inhale, reach the arms up. Warrior one. Again, check that posture. The outer edge of the right foot is onto the mat. Your upper body is facing the front of the mat. Relax the shoulders. Relax the face. Then with your next inhale, you straighten that left leg. Maybe you step in the right foot a little bit closer. And with an inhale, you lengthen. Bring the hands onto your hips. Exhale, foot forward from the hips. You put your hands onto the mat, maybe onto the blocks. And you can put the blocks in different heights, you know. With my other leg, I have them like this, but over here I can put them a little bit more down. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, foot forward. Maybe you can bring the right hip a little bit more forward and your left hip a little bit more back, so that they are in a horizontal line. And with your next inhale, come halfway up. Reach the right hand forward. Bring your left hand onto your hip. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist to the left, bringing your right hand onto the mat or onto that block, on the left side of your left foot. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist maybe a little bit deeper. Then if you feel stable, you can maybe bring your left hand up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Maybe you look up, whatever feels good for your neck. Then look down, plant the hands. With your next inhale, you're coming all the way up. Your right foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. Maybe you step your feet a little bit more wider. Your left knee is bent. Arms horizontal. Warrior two. Feel that nice opening in the hip. Feel how good it feels to have one focus point. Just the top of your middle finger. And bring your right hand onto your right hip. Bend the left knee, or you already have it bent, probably. And then you can bring your right foot a little bit more closer. Bring your left hand on the left corner of the mat or maybe onto the block. Now with an inhale, you bring your right foot up. Flex the right foot. And breathe. Then if you feel stable, you can maybe bring your right arm up. Spread the fingers wide. Your whole body is facing the long side of the mat. And if you still feel stable, you can maybe look up. So both legs are equally active. Then to come out, you can very lightly step your right foot back into a warrior two. Windmill the arms forward. And then bring your right foot forward, next to your left foot. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, plant the feet, arms up. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. Breathe one more time here. Then bring the weight on your right leg. Maybe you look at one point which is not moving. And bring your left knee towards your chest. Bring your hands in front of your heart. And then very gently kick that left foot backwards. Bring your upper body forward. Try to keep it in one line. If it's really hard for you, you can always use your blocks with this one as well. So you're pointing your left foot, floating your left foot actually. So that means you're pointing, but your toes are flexed, so that you engage that whole leg. Maybe you bring your arms alongside the body backwards. Then to come out, very lightly step that left foot backwards. Arms up into Vinyasa. Keep your balance. Keep your smile. Reach that left heel backwards. Belly in. And then plant the hands. Bring your right foot backwards into a plank pose. A Vinyasa or straight to downward facing dog. Now everybody come to hands and knees. Bring your knees as wide as the mat, your toes together in the middle of the mat. And bring your hips towards your heels. Forehead to the mat, child's pose. And everybody come to hands and knees again. Bring your knees and your feet hip distance apart. Toes under, bring your hips towards your heels. And then press yourself up into a downward facing dog. I think, yeah, this is the last downward facing dog of the class. Enjoy. Then if you are ready with your next inhale, you come to a plank pose. Roll over your toes, come to that plank. And then with an exhale, you're coming all the way down onto your belly. Bring your arms alongside the body with the palms facing up. Your forehead is onto the mat. And with your next inhale, you bring the pubic bone into the mat. And you bring your legs and your arms and your chest up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen those toes backwards, the crown of the head forwards. You reach the arms. Salabhasana. Breathe into this pose. One more time. Inhale, lengthen a little bit higher. And exhale, come down. Bring your right or your left cheek onto the mat. Maybe you wiggle the hips. And bring your forehead onto the mat again. Now bend your knees and grab the ankles. If this is hard for you, you can maybe try to bring your knees a little bit more wider and then grab the ankles. You can point or flex the feet, whatever you prefer. And then with your next inhale, you're coming all the way up. Pressing your ankles into your hands. Your chest is up. And breathe. Bow pose. So this is really to open up your heart. It's not necessarily to bring your knees up more higher. It's more to lengthen and to open your chest. Last inhale, come up a little bit more. Open up a little bit more, I should say. And then with an exhale, Coming down, bring your left ear onto the mat. Maybe you wiggle those hips again. If you want, you can also bend your knees and bring your knees from left to right. Bring your legs down, and then you can roll onto your back. Bring your heels as close as possible to your sitting bones, making sure you can touch the heels with the fingertips. And with your next inhale, you press your feet into the mat and bring your hips up. Your knees are hip distance apart, very important. And bring your shoulders underneath you and interlace the fingers. Bridge pose. Make sure you keep your hips up high. Your knees are staying at the same width as your hips. Don't move your neck in this pose. Inhale, maybe come up a little bit higher. And then let go of your fingers, bring your shoulders back, coming all the way down. Now rest your back into this neutral position, this anatomische position. And breathe. So if you want, and it's part of your practice, you can come with me into a wheel pose. Otherwise, you just go into a bridge pose again. So for a wheel pose, your plank, you still make sure your knees are hip distance apart. You can touch the heels with the fingertips. And then you bring your hands next to your ears with the fingertips facing down. And then you can, with an inhale, you can first bring the back of the head, the crown of the head onto the mat and then go further. Or you can go all the way into a wheel in one time. I prefer the last one. So with an inhale coming. Keep your hips up high. Maybe you straighten the arms and the legs. Maybe you shake your head loose if you like it. Press your hands and your feet into the mat. Feel your heart opening. And then if you want to come out, make sure the back of the head lands first. And then the rest will follow. Keep your back again in this neutral position for a couple of breaths. You can also bring your feet as wide as your mat and then bring the knees together. Maybe your hands rest onto your belly. And your feet to the middle. And spread your arms wide into a T shape. Or maybe if you don't have the space or you don't want to, you can just bend the elbows to cactus arms. And then bring your knees towards your chest. Keep your feet onto the mat. Press the feet into the mat. Bring your hips up and bring them a little bit more to the left. A little bit. Then bring your knees into the chest. And with an exhale, you twist to the right. You can look over your left shoulder. It's still an active pose, so Try to breathe deeply. So if your knees are not onto the mat, you can always bring something underneath your knees if you prefer. And with your next inhale, bring your head and your knees to the center. Plant your feet, bring your hips up, and then bring them a little bit to the right. Bring your knees into your chest, and with an exhale, you twist to the left. Maybe look over the right shoulder. So you want the shoulders to be on the mat first, and then maybe your knees. So if your shoulders are not on the mat and your knees are, maybe you can bring something underneath your knees to have that release into the shoulders. And with your next inhale, come with your head and your knees to the center. Maybe you bring the feet onto the mat and bring your hips to the center. Bring your knees into the chest and bring your hands underneath your knees. We're going to roll over our back. Rock and roll from the front to the back. Make sure you round the back while you do this to protect the spine. And then with the third time, you come to sit. Alright. Stretch the legs out in front of you we're going into Paschimottanasana. You flex the feet. With an inhale, you reach the arms up, lengthen, and with an exhale, you fold forward. So it's really important you lengthen the spine. I don't come that deep at all. I'm not so, I'm just not going in so deep with the forward folds. Really tight in the hamstrings. But that's not a problem. You're just gonna breathe into it. Maybe if you want, you can even bend your knees. Try to breathe. With every inhale, you lengthen from the tailbone to the crown of the head. And with every exhale, you come in a little bit deeper. And with your next inhale, you're coming up. Bring your right knee into the chest. Your right heel is as close as possible to your right sitting bone. And bring your right knee towards the right. You're still flexing that left foot. With an inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, foot forward over that left leg. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold forward. You can always use a strap or a sock for this and bring it around the foot and make sure you bring it on the ball of the foot, so just below the toes. And then just doing the same thing, but make sure you don't crunch your shoulders, relax the shoulders. And with an inhale, walk your hands up, bring your right knee in, straighten the right leg, left knee in, bring your left knee towards the left. Inhale, lengthen, bring the arms up. Exhale, foot forward. Inhale. And exhale. Your next inhale, you walk your hands up and come to sit on the front, or maybe you're now at the back of your mat. Straighten the arms out, and then with an exhale, you're coming all the way down. Use your core to coming down gently. And you straighten the left leg up. Maybe you point and flex the foot. Maybe you roll the ankle. And bring your left ankle and your right upper thigh. And while you bring your right knee towards you, you're grabbing the under your right knee. And while you bring your right knee towards you, you're bringing your left knee away from you. Make sure your back is onto the mat. Breathe into that hip. To that glute, into that upper leg. And release, bring your right foot down, your left foot down, and straighten the right leg out above you. Point and flex the foot, roll the ankle. And bring your right ankle and your left upper thigh. And bring your left knee towards your chest. You're bringing your hands underneath the left knee. And while you bring your left knee towards you, you bring your right knee away. Feel that stretch, that right outer hip, that glute, that upper leg. And breathe into it. Bring your left foot down and your right foot down. If you want, you can join me into happy baby. So bring the knees wide. Bend the knees. Bring your feet up with the soles of the feet towards the sky. Then you can bring your arms on the inside of the legs and grab the outer edges of the feet. Maybe like to sway side to side. And then if you are ready, come into Shavasana. You can maybe put something warm on. And bring your legs out. Your arms alongside the body with the palms facing up. Now you're going to be quiet in Shavasana and just wait for my instructions to let you out. You probably already know how long this video is, so you don't have to think about time or anything. And then let go of any controlled breathing or tension. This is the time where you don't have to do anything. to come out of Shavasana. You can bring some movement back into your body, your toes and the ankles, the fingers and the wrists. Maybe you like to sway your head from side to side. Bring your knees into the chest. And roll over to your right side. And very gently come to sit into a seated position. Close your eyes. Bring your hands in front of your heart into Anjali Mudra, praying position. And remember your intention. Bring your hands in front of your forehead. I'd like to thank you very much. Namaste. So, if you have any questions or feedback, I would love to hear it, and I hope to see you soon.